How long will it take to go from 30% body fat to 10%? Honestly, and I'm going to take into account the life of a realistic person who doesn't do this for a living. But that's not the best part. I'm going to show you how to speed it up, how to slow it down when you're experiencing some of the side effects, and most importantly, how to keep that fat off for good once you've lost it all. The method I'm about to share with you is extremely accurate. I know this works because this is all me and my team of doctors at Sculpt by Science do all the time. The last 5 years, we've transformed thousands of physiques and we hit the bullseye every time. So the question we get all the time is, doctor, how long will this take? Let's not waste time, and I'm going to give you the 5-step formula. Step 0, tools for tracking. To accurately know if you're really losing fat, not muscle, and also to correctly determine how long it will take and to check if we're on track, these are the tools that we're gonna need. Number 1, a weight scale. I tell my clients all the time, this isn't the king of tools. It just tells us if we're going in the right direction. This is a compass. Are we going north if we want to gain muscle, or south if we want to lose fat? And that's it, nothing else. Now, this is a big mistake. Weighing yourself just once a week or even less can backfire, and you may be asking why, because you might catch yourself on a day when your weight temporarily spikes, leading you to believe you're not making any progress even when you are. So here's a better way. I want you to step on the scale every morning as soon as you wake up, wear no clothing, maybe at least underwear if you need to, and do it before eating or drinking anything. And make sure that you've used the bathroom first. Keep this up for 14 days straight, then calculate the average of the first 7 days and compare it to the average of the last 7 days. Now that difference is gonna give you an accurate picture of your true weekly weight loss rate. Even then, the weight scale should be paired with the next tool. Number 2, photos. I see this all the time. Your weight could stay the same for even a whole month, but when you compare your 2 photos weekly, you can see new lines appearing in your chest, in your shoulders, and in your midsection. It's very normal to lose 1 pound of fat and gain 1 pound of muscle depending on the circumstances. This is why we want to compare photos. Set your phone on a stand, put it against the wall, maybe put it against a cup, hit the record button, record at the same location, at the same time, same lighting, and the same conditions. Keep it as consistent as you can. We want the before and afters to be identical as possible. Then compare the fronts, the sides, and the backs, comparing them week to week. Why photos are so important is that it's the easiest way to determine your body fat percentage. So now you know how to take photos. This is gonna be the easiest way for you at home to determine your body fat percentage. I call it the eye test. So take your photo and compare it against this chart that I'm showing you on the screen. Again, that's why I call it the eye test. So if you look, for example, like the guy in 30%, then you're likely at the 30% body fat range. Or if you feel like, okay, part of my body looks like the guy in 25% and the other part looks like the guy at 30%, then you're somewhere in the middle and you can call it, let's say 27%. You can even ask the opinion of your friends to say, hey, which one do you think my photo looks very much like? And usually this is pretty accurate. And I'll talk more about other tools that are scientifically proven a bit later. But in my experience, doing it this way is the best, and using a DEXA scan is the gold standard. And in my experience, not too much difference between the two, but I also know some people like being accurate according to the science. Finally, we want to use maybe a tool like an in-body scan, which they have at a lot of gyms these days. This is fine as just a reference, and you can take the in-body number and also compare that to what you got on your eye test. So let's say you got 30% body fat on your eye test, and when you did the in-body scan, it said you're at 35% body fat. That's gonna give you 32.5%, and you can just round off your body fat percentage to being 33%. Finally, your best bet is going to be a DEXA scan. And we have partners and we do DEXA scans for most of our clients, because what we love, aside from knowing what our body fat percentage is, we want to know both our subcutaneous body fat, our visceral body fat percentage. We want to know our client's bone density, especially the ladies. And we also want to know muscle mass to see after 4 months how much all those factors have decreased. This way, we don't have to be too worried about human error. But those are the tools that we want to use. You can also use a tape measurement, which is also great to see that maybe the inches in your biceps and chest have increased, but your waist is decreased. This is another confirmation for body recomposition. Now that we have the tools, I'm going to create a scenario to show you how long it's going to take and also how to calculate this accurately. So I'm going to use myself as an example. At 30% body fat, I'm at 200 pounds and my height, for reference to compare against yourself, is 5'8". There will be two factors that's going to influence how long it's going to take. Number one, your starting body fat percentage. So for someone who's at 40% to compare to someone who's at 20%, that time is going to be very different. And number two is the rate of weight loss. Do we want to lose half a pound a week, 1 pound a week, or 2 or even 3 pounds a week? The more you lose, the faster it will be. And I'm going to show you how to modulate and shift the number accordingly. I'm first going to show you guys this super simple way to determine how long it will take. And this is especially for those who don't need it to be super accurate and also don't want to go through the math. So number one, the simplest way is this. The most I personally like losing in terms of rate of weight loss is 1% of my body weight per week. So if I'm 200 pounds, 1% of 200 is 2 pounds per week. If you're a lady, let's say you're 150 pounds, 1% is 1.5 pounds per week. You get the point. So in simple math, if you're at 30% body fat and you want to get to 10%, that means you need to lose 20% of your body fat. And at a rate of 1% of your body weight per week, it's gonna take you 20 weeks, 20 divided by 1. But keep watching because I'm gonna show you a more accurate way and also what you need to do to speed things up. I know summer's getting around the corner, so I'm gonna share with you some of these nuggets. For example, that same example, if you want to lose 1.5% of your body weight per week, then that's going to cut your time significantly down. But let's remember the 20 weeks as 1%. That's what I recommend. The second easiest way is using this chart on the screen. So this chart I'm showing you is assuming an average of just 1 pound of fat loss per week. Remember, we can change this to 2 pounds per week if we want fast results. And it's also going to give you an accurate estimate. So this is how to use it. Number one, locate the column on the vertical division at the top with your current body fat percentage. By now, you've used the eye test or you have used an in-body or any one of the measurements. If you're a woman, follow the column down until you hit the orange cell. And if you're a man, follow the column down until you hit the yellow cell. And then trace that row, the horizontal division, to the left-hand margin and look at the number. And that's approximately how many weeks it's going to take for you to see your abs, and that's to get to 10%. So for example, let's say you're a male at 30% body fat. First, you find the column for the starting body fat percentage of 30%. Second, follow the column down until you hit the yellow cell. And as you can see, it's showing 44 weeks. Now remember, this chart assumes that you want to drop 1 pound per week, which is 0.5% of your body weight. Now, if you want to double the speed and you want to go that 1%, and that means losing 2 pounds per week, that means you're going to lose weight 2 times faster, right? Going from 1 pound per week to 2. So that also means that that 44 weeks is going to be cut in half to 22 weeks, which is 2 weeks off from the super simple version I showed you in the beginning, right? The super simple one I said was 20 weeks. This chart is showing you 22 weeks. So now you can apply the same. Now, before we move into the more complicated math, I want to be able to help you guys. So I'm going to show you and tell you specifically using these methods, how long yours is going to take. So all I want you to do, go in the comments and tell me your age, weight, height, your body fat percentage, and let me know if you use the eye test or if you used an in-body or you maybe got the data somewhere. And also let me know your gender and I'll give you an estimate of how long this is going to take. Remember, I'll try and do my best and answer everybody in the next 48 hours. If it's past the 48 hours from this video being uploaded, then just go through the comments, guys, and see how I did it. Then you can do it for yourself. All I ask in return is a gentle thumbs up. That helps the channel. We're so close to 2 million subscribers, so subscribe while you're there already. Let's move on into the actual math so you guys can copy me. Now, spoiler alert, for all of my people who hate math and don't want to do the math and find it boring, you can fast forward this section to now how we can modulate and speed up your weight loss. But if you love the math and you also want to know what your weight is going to be at the end at 10%, this is the exact way to do it. That being said, I'm going to show you what your weight is supposed to be at 10% body fat doing the math. So welcome back to my computer screen. Now let me show you how to do it the math way. Now you can totally just take this prompt here and plug it into any AI, and I'm using Grok, but let's get into the math, right? So quickly, we want to first determine our fat mass, which is the amount of weight that is just fat in our body, and then our lean mass as a result. So if you're 30% body fat, that means 30% of the 200 pounds is just fat. So it's 0.3 multiplied by 200, and then that's 60 pounds, right? And the lean mass is all of your weight that is not fat. And that means that's your muscle mass, your bones, your organs, etc. So all we're gonna do is take 200 pounds minus 60. So now we know that our lean mass is 140 pounds, and we're going to use this information later. Now we need to determine what is our weight going to be at 10% body fat. Why this is super valuable as well is that it's going to help us also have a target in mind when we're working, right? So you know, okay, what is the target weight? So to determine 10% body fat, assume that your lean body mass remains constant during fat loss, right? Now, this is an oversimplification, but for the purpose of this, we're going to just keep it this way. So lean body mass is equal to 90% of your total weight, since the fat mass is 10%, right? Because your body fat percentage being 10%. Let W be your total weight at 10% body fat. This means your lean body mass is 0.9 multiplied by W. So since your lean body mass is 140 pounds, we're just going to do some easy arithmetic. So it's 140. We're going to move this 0.9 over, and the multiplication turns to divided. So that means your weight at 10% body fat is going to be 155.6 pounds. And now I know a lot of you guys are like, well, that is very light. And to compute this precisely, we're going to get that math, and I would just say round it off to make it easy, right? And there's this way that you can verify, but here is your weight at 10% body fat. So now let's require how much fat needs to be lost in total. So to determine how much fat you need to lose, it's your current fat mass, 60 pounds, right? Minus your target fat mass, which is going to be 15.56. So we know 155.56 is your final weight. 10% of that is just 15.56. So we take 60 minus 50.56, which is 44.4 pounds. So we take 200 minus 155.6, which means we need to lose 44.4 pounds. And that's the hardest part, is just determining how much fat we need to lose. Now, the rest is pretty easy. Now we just need to determine, okay, Dr. Mike, how fast do I want to lose weight? If you want to lose, let's say 1 pound of weight per week, then it's going to be 44.4 repeated divided by 1 pound, and it will take you roughly 44 weeks. But you can also do it like I've always mentioned, about 2 pounds per week. So 44.4, I'm just gonna round it down to 44 to make it simple. 44 divided by 2 pounds per week is gonna give you 22. So it's gonna take you 22 weeks to be able to lose the weight, which is exactly the same as the chart that I showed you, and only 2 weeks apart from the easy way that I determined earlier. Now we know what our target weight is. Perfect, Dr. Mike, I now know how long it's gonna take. But the question is now, okay, how do I determine how to speed up my weight loss? Now, when you're speeding up your weight loss too quickly, these are the side effects. You're very hungry, you have an increase in food noise, so you're always going to be thinking about food, and you'll also see a decrease in training output. Your performance is going to decrease. So my advice always is play around with how large your caloric deficit is going to be, just so that you can avoid some of the side effects, because what happens is when you deal with that side effects too long, you're really relying on your willpower, and your willpower is not infinite. At some point, you're going to give up. You're going to say, I'm over it. And usually this is how people rebound. Now you know how long it's going to take you. How do we know how to speed it up? This is what a pound of fat looks like. And we know this pound of fat, if I were to take a fire, to have it completely disappear, that is equivalent to 3,500 calories. Now they've done this in a lab and the math is a lot more complicated, but in simple terms, we know to lose a pound of fat is 3,500 calories. As you guys saw in the example that I gave you, to lose in 22 weeks, we actually want to lose 2 of these, which means that we need to burn double of 3,500, which is 7,000 calories. So now there's 3 ways that you can speed up your fat loss. Way number 1 is through your caloric input, and way number 2 is through your caloric output. Way number 3 is through both. So number 1, I highly recommend, let's say you want to lose the 2 pounds per week, right? The faster way. How about we just establish that 1 pound of fat loss per week just through the diet. So that simply means, right, if you're supposed to be eating 3,000 calories to maintain your body weight, then you need to be in a 2,500 caloric deficit. So you can do that through diet. But let's say you say, hey, you know what? I just want to really focus in on diet and I don't want to train too much or do too much cardio at all. Then you can say, okay, I'll be at 2,000 calories. This really depends on what you're okay with and your lifestyle with eating. The second way is through your caloric output, and caloric output is really determined by all the calories your body burns. The first thing I love doing with a lot of my clients is, in general, 10,000 steps will help you burn about 500 calories. So if we can lose 500 calories from the eating, we decrease that, and we can get 500 calories from caloric output, that, in my opinion, is the best strategy. This is why I always say, okay, if you can walk 10,000 steps, that can help you burn about 500 calories. That may help you establish that 1,000 calorie daily deficit we need to be in. But the math also doesn't work exactly that way. This is why I always tell guys, and the reasoning behind why when my clients actually walk 15,000 steps, that their weight comes flying off. So my advice to be able to speed up and really how to play with the speed of weight loss is through the amount of steps you're doing. This way you don't really get too tired from doing high intensity cardio. It's very manageable for your body and your body can recover quickly. So that's why if you're doing 15,000 steps, that means you're roughly burning 750 extra calories just from caloric output through walking. Because remember, if 10,000 steps is equivalent to 500 calories, then an extra 5,000 means that that's equivalent to 250 calories. So that's roughly 750. Remember, all of this math that I'm giving you is just in theory. That extra 250 calorie buffer from doing the 5,000 steps really guarantees us that we're really in 1,000 calorie plus deficit per week. And when you're starting to feel a bit weaker, you can maybe taper down to 12,000 steps. The other factors that we can also use to be able to burn more calories per day is eating more protein, because it increases your thermic effect of food. This means maybe having 1.1 to 1.2, even as high as 1.3 grams of protein per pound of body weight. The other factors that are very easy low-hanging fruit to speed up your ability to lose weight is sleeping more. That is going to increase your testosterone production. It's going to increase your growth hormone production, and those hormones will help you build more muscle, burn more calories at rest. And in simple terms, that's the way. But if you guys want a meal plan, how to calculate your calories very accurately, you guys also want a training plan. I created one of the most viral videos on how to do this step-by-step the right way. And you can just watch this video right here and it's going to take you through that. I'm even showing you some comments on the screen of what people experience watching this. But let me know in the comments if you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave it with a gentle thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.